Content creator Runner Boy has a deadlift tutorial for beginners, and I'm going to critique it. Let's see what you've got, Runner Boy.
How to deadlift for beginners. In this video, I'll be going over some tips and form on how to deadlift for beginners. Some easy, simple tips on deadlift form. So make sure.
Well, right off the bat, I would say his form looks impeccable. He's got a nice straight up and down bar path. His hips are where they're supposed to be.
To watch the entire video and improve your deadlift. So the first thing I want you to do is set the bar up over the middle of your foot like I'm showing here. And this is the basic line you want to follow while you're deadlifting to keep it close to your shins and body while you're pulling the weight up. This will ensure good bar path during the entire movement.
The only thing I would have added to this part is lateral movement. So when you pull the bar up off the floor, if you have the bars mid-foot, which most people will when they set up, some people, the bar will swing towards the body a little bit. That is a sign that you're pulling the bar from too far out and you need to move it closer to your shins. Conversely, if you have the bar set up too close to your shins, it'll sink your hips down too far and you'll lose a lot of power off the floor. This, from the average person, this isn't going to be a problem. But if you have really long legs or really short legs, and really long arms, really short arms, depending on how your body is, if you got one of those outlier builds, of setting up mid-foot could be problematic. So what you really want to look for is when you pull off the bar, is there any lateral movement? Does it swing in either direction, or does it go straight up and down? And that's really just a mechanics thing. Probably most beginners, it's kind of ticky-tacky, but, you know, it's a point. That's where I usually start when I train people.
Now, the next point is to place your hands right beside your legs, but to avoid touching your legs. You don't want to take a too close of a grip or too wide of a grip. Having the grip right beside your legs should help maintain good posture during the entire movement. So here's a close-up of what that will look like. Nice and close over mid-foot, up and down. It's a simple.
My earlier point about lateral movement notwithstanding, I find no fault in this whatsoever. That's perfectly acceptable. That's exactly what I would do.
As that. Now this is how you want to close your hands while you lift the bar. Now you want to make sure you have a strong grip while you lift, and make sure to hold on hard and wrap your thumb right into the bar. For these grips, you do not put your fingers over your thumb. Your thumb goes over your fingers. Now, the next point is pulling the slack out of the bar.
The only thing I would add is this is called a supinated grip, or supinated. Basically reverse grip. You have one hand facing forward, one hand facing backwards, and what does that do? It just keeps the bar from rolling out of your hands. As that bar gets heavy, it's going to want to roll off your fingers, and if you're holding it in both directions, it can't roll. Simple as that.
As you can see, you pull slightly up before you start and get all the slack out of your arms and out of the weights. It's a slight movement, you can barely see it, but you need to make sure to do it before you lift. This will avoid any jerky movements in the deadlift and avoid you rounding your back right off the start and being able to lift the weight correctly without injuring yourself. Now, the next thing I want you to think about is how to brace properly, and it's really simple. You want to expand everything, so take a deep breath in, expand your front of your body, try to expand into the lower back, the upper back, expand into your chest.
I don't disagree with anything he's saying here, but if I was trying to teach a new person, I would just say, squeeze them abs like you're trying to show off for Instagram. Tighten that core up. Come on. Tight.
You should feel like you're bending into water and keep your head up above yourself. And you should feel lots of pressure, and even if you're about to have really high blood pressure, that's the feeling you want to have. This is probably one of the most important tips of the video.
You heard that right. Most important, you should feel like you're about to take a dump and your head's going to pop off. No, but seriously, it is super important because this is 99.9% of injury prevention right here. Take note. Absolutely critical. I agree, buddy.
Without it, you're going to hurt yourself. Now, this is how you grab the bar and wear in your hand. You're going to grab it on that crease of your hand to allow more grip and allow the bar to not slide around in your hand. You don't want it too high up like this, or it's just going to slip out of your hand. You don't want it too low like that, or you're not.
Again, it's just me. If I'm training a beginner, I just say hold that thing like you're going to swing a hammer. You know what I mean? Hold it like a hammer.
Going to get any grip strength into it, and don't cover your thumb if you're not hook gripping, which beginners should not do hook grip. Now, for your lat activation, you're going to want to turn your arm towards the back of your body, not towards the front. This is going to activate your lats in your movement. This is for mixed grip, and it's the same on both arms. Basically, turn your elbows towards the back, really force them, and keep your arms straight. That's really important, especially for the mixed grip, or you're going to get a bicep injury.
Let's talk about that. I've been pulling mixed grip for 10 years, and I've never had any issues, no imbalances. I don't switch back and forth, no problems. Where the problems arise is when you see people that are curling the bar. When they pull the bar up and they start curling it, that's a real invitation to pop a bicep. With a heavy amount of weight on it, you start pulling like that, it's just going to sever that connection point, and I've seen it a bunch of times. So yeah, rolling the shoulders back is crucial to keep the arms straight. Man, I'll tell you what, you get that bicep disconnected.
There you have it, to the back. Here's another angle. Now towards the back and not towards the front like this. It's really important to avoid this, and really important to do this to get your lat activation during the lift. Now here's that lat activation during the lift. It's really not noticeable, and you're not going to see it while you lift. Like most things, you're really not going to be able to see it when you lift. So you have to forget about the mirror and think about how it feels.
He's absolutely right about the mirror, but one thing I'm a big fan of is taking videos from the side so you can actually see what your body's doing when you're pulling. And that pretty much tells you if you got a straight bar path, your butt's in the proper button back in the proper position. Everything you need to know I can take from a side shot. But a mirror, trying to, yeah, I agree.
Now, about the lower back, you want to try to keep your lower back as neutral as possible, like I'm showing here. But in some cases, above around 70 to 80%, you're going to have a slight bend in your back, and that's okay. But you want to try avoid having it bend during the lift. If it's going to bend, it should be bending from the start of the lift, not up at the top.
The human back is amazing, and you can do a lot. Cobra pose, doing yoga. I know people that can touch their heels to their head. So, the back is designed to bend, but what it isn't designed to do is bend with sheer force on it. So some rounding of the back is totally acceptable, especially up at the higher part, where closer to your shoulders. But lower back, that's where all the problems arise. 40% of men over the age of 40 suffer grade 1 strains in their L5 region, which is lower back issues, and that's from sitting. So imagine what you can do when you start, rounding your back out with a bunch of weight on it. I'm a big fan of belts myself because I'm an older lifter. But if I'm younger, I'm thinking, yeah, I wouldn't train with a belt. Try to learn to brace properly from the get-go, for sure.
Now, here are some common mistakes. Rounding the back as soon as you lift. Very big mistake beginners make. Even a lot of people have been lifting for a while. Next,
it's because you got the bar set too far out. You need to bring that sucker closer to your shins. If you're rounding your back like that and your hips shoot up, guaranteed the bar is too far away from you. And it could be just an inch or two.
Next one is rolling the bar in. You're not a strong man. and you're not big enough to need to do that.
Rolling the bar in. Ugh, I see it all the time. You can thank Eddie Hall for that. You know, we all saw the big dudes. They reach down for the bar and they roll it towards them. So they stretch out far, roll the bar towards them, and then pull as soon as it gets mid-foot. Why? Well, Eddie Hall weighed 400-something pounds, and he was wearing a deadlift suit, which is a compression suit, and it's like a real thick fabric that stretches, and it assists the lifter. It's called geared lifting. And the suit is so tight that he couldn't, with his stomach, bend down and grab the bar, so he had to reach out far and roll it towards him, which gave him kind of a stretch reflex too, so it actually assisted with him breaking the floor. We don't weigh 405 pounds, we're not picking up 1,000 pounds, and we don't wear deadlift suits. There is no reason why you should roll the bar towards you. You're just inviting disaster.
That was for people that are very big. The next one is having the bar way too far forward, your whole body weight just pulling forward on yourself. They're some of the biggest mistakes I think beginners make. And having the bar right in front of your legs, very big mistake. So I hope you liked this video, even with the bad video lighting. This is just for beginners, so put some of these tips into your lifting, and I hope you get a PR soon. Peace out, till the next one.
So there it is. Runner Boy asked me to do this, and I give it 2 thumbs up, man. 9 out of 10. There's a couple of small details I would have added, nitpicky stuff. You know, we all have our own coaching styles, but your presentation was clear, it was easy to follow, and it's very comprehensive. Training with someone like him, you're going to have impeccable form. He has some of the most beautiful squats I've ever seen. I've never seen him do a lift that had bad form, so I would definitely go to him for advice, especially if I'm a beginner. And if I had met any beginners, I would turn them to him to begin with. Like and subscribe. You know, he asked me to do this personally, so I would like you to check his channel out. I think he's a really good resource, and if you like what I'm doing, hey man, throw me a subscription. I'm a pretty good deadlifter too.